This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Hoochmanzada.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Listen, this podcast is not about being right. It's about being entertaining and sometimes right.
What a bunch of salty-ass bitches. The fact that we're talking about this, the fact that this is an argument, that this is a topic of conversation is a control thing.
It's always those average white guys that have the big dicks.
Not Mike McDaniel, then?
Yeah, I'm sure.
He's just a torpedo.
As soon as you said torpedo, it got weird.
We shall see.
Hey,
No, we shall see. I don't think we're going to find out.
we're never going to see. We're back. Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion! How much Wagyu fat do I have? Not a lot. It wasn't a very big piece. But I'll tell you what, boys. That Wagyu, A5, change your life.
From Costco?
No, actually, from the meeting place out in Hillsborough.
Oh.
It's
You
a
ever been there?
great butcher shop.
You've been there, right?
I've been there 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Those beef kebabs and those chicken kebabs and the spatchcock chicken.
Yeah, very good.
They're actually known for shit that I don't really care about, but they're loaded baked potato.
The twice baked.
The twice.
Yeah.
That's what people go there for. But
Yeah,
the
we
meeting
got a
place
ton of
is
those.
probably the best butcher shop we have here.
Yeah. It's
Never
very
been.
off of, what is it?
Why
It's in It's deep in fucking
Yeah.
Hillsborough.
What's
why would I
the-
ever do that, you know?
I don't know.
It's worth it.
Past Cornell Road, West Union or something like that.
They
So-
also have
Never heard
like a cafe right next to it
They
where you
do.
can have eat sandwiches
aware.
that's from the butcher shop.
All right.
Okay.
Shout out Meeting Place. Shout out Tom Yard for his 70th birthday, my father-in-law. It was, I guess we'll just jump right into it. My job for his birthday was to grill. I said, I'll take care of it. I'll go to the Meeting Place and we'll.
You weren't assigned that job. You volunteered
did.
for that. So let's not make it seem
You know
like
what?
her family asked you to cook.
I kind of said, Lindsay, I'll do it. Just tell him I'll cook. And then finally, when someone was like, "Oh, well, Peter is just going to do it," I was like, "Oh, you volunteer me?" But yeah, I kind of volunteered myself.
You're like Monica from Friends. You want me to
are.
clean this? Fine. But she really deep down loves
deep
cleaning.
wanted to. So we went to the Meeting Place, and as I walked in, it was pouring buckets outside. Atmospheric river here in Portland. It was as if, you see in the movies where all the lights turn off and the spotlight descends on the Wagyu. It's like, oh, that's how it felt when I saw that A5 Wagyu.
Wow.
And I was in that butcher shop for, I swear, about 10 minutes before I even talked to anyone, because I'm like, do I do it? Do I do it?
Is it the cost? How much was it?
It was like $85 a pound. So it wasn't that much. It was like, and they were thinner. It was just like, I've wanted to cook an A5 Wagyu steak before. Like, I wanted to do that. But I hadn't mentally prepared myself. I hadn't done I know about it, but I would rather do another little bit of research on it just to make sure I've got everything dialed in.
It's so
It's so simple.
It's really
right?
silly to me.
Yeah.
Because when you sent the picture, and even before you sent the photo, this mental block of I don't want to fuck this up.
I put the pussy on the pedestal.
But it's
for sure.
It looks like a normal steak, and if anything, it's probably harder to fuck up because you're only thinking about cost and this holy grail of fucking meat. But it's harder to fuck up than a normal steak because all you need to do is not overcook it. If you've cooked a steak before, you know that this is all covered in fucking fat.
Yeah.
So if you want to play it safe, pull it off the grill faster than you normally would a regular steak.
Right, but you also want a good sear on it. So
Yeah.
you
Which
don't wanna...
again, that's getting a good sear is so much easier than getting the right temperature.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like it's just an unnecessary mental thing.
Thinner steaks are easier to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways,
You know.
and I nailed it. I was very happy about it, which again, the gal who sold it to me was like, it's hard to mess this up, but still, pussy on the pedestal, was very nervous about it.
I think you built it up in the beginning just so it's a bigger pat on the back when
Maybe.
you know you're gonna figure it out and nail
Yeah.
it.
You're wiping your brow. Oh, guys, I can't believe I made it.
Yeah.
It's like you just made it through war.
Yeah.
Oh.
My nephew was like, I'm going to remember this day for the rest of my life.
And you creamed.
Okay, not to the...
Jesus.
Yeah, that's my
Christ.
12-year-old
Did you or
nephew.
didn't you cream?
Not at that moment, no.
Okay.
What was funny is that I gave Brody a piece, and then he, like, plopped it in his mouth, gave a thumbs up, and then, like, ran away. But as a display of, like...
Brody's
hey,
a
how
real
good this-
man's man. Man of few words.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks,
good.
thanks for the beef.
good.
Get the fuck out of my sight.
So, but happy birthday, 70th to Tom Yard.
Absolutely.
You know.
February 22nd. What a day of parents, huh?
I know. So it's your mother. It is Mitchell's mother.
Tom
It is
Yard, Gail Hip,
Lindsay's
and my
father.
mama.
Yeah, so
Wow.
all on the same day.
They were all born in the same hospital next door to each other, dude.
Really?
Believe that?
It's
In
not
fact,
true.
they all have the same father.
Yeah. I've told
Whoa.
almost glanced past that. No, my high school girlfriend and my college roommate had social security numbers 2 off of each other because they were born in the same hospital a day apart.
In Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
In Beaver. In
That's
Beaverton,
crazy,
I think.
dude.
Yeah.
Or
India?
Gresham, one of the two. So
Sri
I thought
Lanka's
that
in
was weird.
Beaverton.
Ever heard of Sri Lanka Beeve next to Eclectic Brewing?
If you hit a Loa, you've gone too far.
So, outside of the atmospheric river, my God, this is like literally the cellar of winter right now. It feels like
The cellar of winter.
yeah,
I've never
this is
heard
like
that phrase.
the
bottom's bottom.
the bottom's bottom of winter.
Yeah.
It's like so just dark and dreary. It is like winter's last stand.
I got to be honest. I know that Kaiser is not that far away from Portland, but it is noticeably better. As far as like living in Multnomah Village, like you would see trees coming down and
Right.
power lines, and it's like so doomy and gloomy. And like that will happen, but like yesterday, for instance, it would be gloomy. And then all of a sudden, it was like super sunny and nice. And it was nice through the afternoon. And it rained through the night. And the winds were pretty crazy. But I don't know. Maybe just that little bit of distance.
Is it
It's the same thing here.
Well, no, I mean, I just wonder if it's accentuated by the fact that we're kind of like, I mean, I live amongst a forest.
Yeah,
and similarly
probably.
to like Multnomah Village and everything, you're kind of like in
You're
the
in the
trees.
hills and
Yeah.
in the trees.
So,
Also in Kaiser,
seems
all the
worse.
electricity is underground.
Oh, sure.
So you're not dealing with like the flickering.
that
and
newer age development.
Yeah.
I know it's not that far, but also I do buy the thing of like the more south you go, like Southern Oregon gets a lot of fucking sunshine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of homes in Southern Oregon that have fucking pools. Like you go to Medford, you go to Grants Pass. The more south you go, there's a lot more sunshine. But like in the case of yesterday, when I was driving to the airport, there was a fucking rainbow. Like the sun was out. The sun was out today.
A rainbow?
Yeah, it was nice today.
And it's like
Towards the end of the day. Sure.
as much as the windstorm sucked, I would take that over like 2 weeks of icy weather
yeah.
and no power. And we're lucky that we didn't lose power, but still it was like it was mid 50s today. It's going to be 60 tomorrow.
I know.
done.
Yeah,
Like I hope
sun's
we're
coming out
done.
now, so.
Like there'll be some rain, but I hope we're fucking done with like we're heading
Freezing temperatures.
Yeah, we're heading into like 40s, 50s.
You can
normal.
thank Ashley for bringing the sunshine back with her from Mexico. Was the weather nice? So she's back.
Dude,
She's back from
their
her.
weather was nicer than in Cabo because we were hitting like mid to almost high 70s while
They
we
were
were
in the
there.
80s?
They were mid 80s.
Oh, snap. Yeah.
They were mid 80s.
I mean, I'm kind of glad we were. I think the highest it got was 78.
Yeah.
That was perfect for me.
Your
Ours was-
pale ass did
Yeah, that
not
was
need any
perfect
more
for
sun.
me.
Ours was
Yeah.
perfect. I don't think I would trade.
I'm the one to talk.
I don't think I would trade it. Like, yeah, it was warmer there, but they're also. I think it just justified even more how lucky we were with what we experienced because their concierge wasn't the same. Yeah, they had a cool house right on the cliff with an infinity pool, but like the whole process of like getting into the house or like sweating outside trying to figure out how to get to the house. They had one housekeeper. The concierge wasn't responding when like The AC had to be figured out. The heated pool had to be figured out. I'm like,
gotcha. Yeah.
And when they were getting the services, the fucking concierge was like, hey, it's time to pay for this. I'm like, we got to the point where we were on day 3 questioning, who do we pay?
Are we ever going to pay?
But yes, like we did pay for it at the end, but it was like the service we experienced. I think we will be constantly reminded that doesn't exist in a lot of places.
Yeah. Unless you're paying top dollar, which I don't feel like we did.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like there were 12 guys splitting it. You know, like you look at bar tabs, the sticker shock was there because it was on one tab, but it was like $80 per person. It was $120 per person. Yeah. It was all normal. I've paid more than that at fucking Victoria Bar.
That's
Portland.
true. Victoria Bar will.
It's like it was not cheap, but it wasn't absurd. It wasn't absurd.
Well, what was the most jealous that you felt? Obviously, you're probably seeing. She's probably sending you
Pepe's
photos
Tacos.
and
Pepe's Tacos was a place we experienced during a taco tour, and we ended up going back. And it was one of the 2 places that Ashley wanted to go back to. That and like a nice place for dinner. She went to a bunch of new spots other than that. But Pepe's Tacos is open 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And there's a full condiment thing on your table, and it's so fucking good. There were 5 of them, and she said we ordered nonstop margaritas and enough food to feed like 15 people. It was like quesadillas and all of the tacos. She said it was $120
for all of them,
for all 5 of them,
and all those
$30 per person, or like 20 something per person for all of that.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, you take it.
They went back 3 times. Like
did they?
Ikram sent me a photo that they were there. Like Ashley is deep throating a fucking Al Pastor taco. Ikram takes a photo
full
of it.
Throated Al Pastor.
Third time at Pepe's, and it was 3:30 in the morning.
Wow.
I was in bed. I was like, holy shit. I could take 4 of those.
Did they have fun though?
Yeah. Had a blast.
Okay,
It exceeded.
Any wild stories you can share?
No cartels, no.
No cartels. Ashley is not like me. She doesn't like. It's not like I crave to be the be on the spotlight. But they went to a pirate ship cruise dinner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they were doing the same thing as at Mango Deck. Like they were doing a dance off. We're doing all that. I don't shy away from that. I don't volunteer, but I don't shy away from it.
Right. You're not.
Ashley's not the same. So her friend did it and won, and I forget what
the
she
twerk
won.
competition.
It was like a dance-off competition between 3 girls.
Okay,
she wasn't a judge, but her friend won, and they were being.
Were they dancing
girls.
on a guy?
They were on a stage on a cruise, and that's a big reason why Ashley didn't do it is because of. Like it was,
you didn't want to fall overboard.
It was choppy waters, and it was like if you're afraid of heights,
back of that ass
you're kind of looking
the
down. And she's like, I don't know, I'm not.
She's like, I'll do it, but I need floaties.
Fuck this.
Got my floaties on.
I can't put my arm above my head.
So
nothing is more sexy than a
couple floaties.
Couple floaties. Yeah.
They also went to this bar that I've never been. We didn't go to it, but it's right on the beach. It's called Marvinos. And they chose to not sit on the beach because they wanted to. It's like ankle deep water, so they had tables where your feet would just be soaking.
Like that?
No, they loved it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. She's like,
I did it in Costa Rica. It was life changing.
Yeah, she was like, the food was incredible. The cocktails were insanely good. And just the setup where you had an umbrella because it was 85 degrees, so they had an umbrella blocking the sun, and they were just soaking their feet in the pool. It was, she said, it was fucking awesome.
In high school, when we did that, we were in Costa Rica, and we had small enough tables that we had no chaperones on ours, and they just were like, we'll take a pina colada. And, you know, whenever you're with the adults, they would be like, they knew to give you like a virgin pina colada, but they were like, with rum or con rum? With rum, and we're like, fuck yeah, con rum. And so we got toasty and
con rum. What a bad boy.
I know.
Puppy.
So I almost got sent home from that trip, I think, for being so mischievous. My Spanish teacher also saw my dick that trip. That was weird.
Oh, you haven't cashed in on that?
I mean, at what point do
Peter's
I
like,
blackmail
it's really weird.
Statute of limitations.
He walked into my room, and I dropped my pants and started jerking off, and he just saw it.
He made me. with his eyes.
I was just trying to change, and the bus was waiting, and they came. I was like, "Don't look!" And they go, "What?" And then my dick's out. And I was like, "It's cold outside."
The classic "don't look" and they look.
Yeah, very much.
Don't look, but it's right here.
Don't look.
Just smacking you in the face.
We keep like when she got back on her. We hit traffic on our ride home from the airport, so we were talking about the trip. I was like, "Catch me up. What did you like the best?" And every story was like 10 out of 10, and she loved everything. And we both realized we keep having these great experiences and great places to eat and drink in both Puerto Vallarta and Cabo, but we can't go back to Mexico for a while. Like, we have to explore other countries.
Yeah,
we can't be that couple that just goes to Mexico every trip we get a chance to take.
Go to the Caribbean next.
It was like we have to expand and like go to Puerto Rico. We have to go to fucking Spain and Italy.
Want to do a cruise?
I don't know if I'm
should
for
do the
cruises.
You outside of like getting over the fear of being in the open oceans.
Yeah, don't think about that.
You would thrive.
I don't have a fear of getting in the open ocean.
Then what's your concern?
Getting fucking seasick.
It's too big.
Yeah,
The ocean's too big.
I've seen fucking cruise ships. Well, they're sitting at dinner.
They're going through the
and
Drake
the silverware
Passage.
is fucking falling off the
okay,
table.
but it's the same thing with like seeing all these plane crashes. It's like, oh wow, we saw the one plane out of the literal thousands that flew today.
You don't even
17
feel
in the
it.
last week. It's very concerning.
I've been on a number of cruises. You never feel it.
Yeah,
You never,
when we
like-
were on our cruise, there was one night where it was kind of like, I guess I can feel that, and you take Dramamine and you're fine.
Yeah. You got your little wristbands.
Yeah, and you're literally boozing from the
You can
moment.
smoke anywhere.
Worse,
you
you
get
get
the drink
seasick
package.
while you're drunk.
No, it definitely Well, if you get blacked out, on a cruise ship, once you get drunk, it helps. But then if you hit a certain point of drunk, then it's detrimental.
Yeah. And then you never have to ask what the limit is. There's no limit. You could go to dinner and ask for 7 appetizers.
Well, to be completely honest with you, just full transparency, the detrimental part, scared. Detrimental? I don't like the detrimental part.
Well, you're not one to get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm trapped in a boat, man. You don't know.
Oh, it's a marathon, though. I would love to go on a cruise with the both of you guys. That would be so much fun.
Count me in.
And the best part is
24-hour pizza.
Yeah.
yes, that
There's
is
a 24-hour food court.
24-hour ice cream.
Yeah.
24-hour, well, not 24-hour booze. They do cut it off at
They
some
have a
point.
7-Eleven.
No.
They have a convenience store.
Yeah.
They got tornadoes.
We'll see.
What do you mean we'll see?
We'll
see.
Like you run it?
At ours, they had those peanut butter chocolate Rice Krispie treats. Those were incredible.
They
You
had-
just shove them in your cargo pants.
And yeah, cruises are magnificent.
Gluttonous.
But I do want to say before we move on from Mexico, my parents, Monique and Jay, came over on Sunday.
Brought more tomato pizza.
No, they asked, my mom texted me and she says, "Do you like lasagna?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I like lasagna." And they brought over like 2 microwave lasagna things.
Come on, man. Come on.
They brought you over like the Stouffer's lasagnas.
Yeah.
That
Like-
look great
like
on.
the ones that feed like 3 people,
yeah.
maybe.
Like the stories about Monique and Jay, mostly Jay, it's like an ongoing impractical jokers,
Yeah.
dude. Like
Honestly-
if you ask, "Hey, do you like lasagna?" I 1000% picture that she made lasagna.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least brought over a value pack from Costco or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
or like a big Stouffer's lasagna.
Right.
Like I would be fine with that. Just throw it in the oven,
Yeah.
whatever.
Not
But
like
no,
a,
it was like the smaller ones.
not a like a 4 for $5
I'm not-
deal at Safeway.
First of all, I'm not putting this on Monique. I'm putting this
I'm
on
not.
Jay.
That's Jay.
It's
I'm
all
putting
Jay.
this
We
on
all
Jay.
know it. But anyways,
It's pretty incredible. The guy won up.
I mean, at least
all the
he's
time.
consistent.
Yeah.
It's like Joe Gatto.
So they come over and they are going to Cabo. And so they were asking me what
Where should you go?
Where should we go?
Las
Where
Vegas
did you,
Men's Club, Singapore.
Where did you go?
They honestly thought that we were going to align with their hopes and desires.
Nah, I guess they did for a moment until I was like, well, I think the experience that I had is a lot different than what you guys are wanting. And she was like, well, didn't you like go to restaurants or anything? And I was like, yeah. I mean, we went to this place called Mango Deck. And she immediately pulls out her phone and types in Mango Deck. And she's like, oh, this is like down the road from our resort. And she was like, maybe we can go there. And I was like, I don't think you'd want to go there.
No.
Jay getting titty twisters with a Jello shot.
And she was like, why? Why? Do you not think we're like cool enough? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, they were literally doing twerk competitions.
You want a pussy in your face, Jay?
And like they had people going around like forcing tequila down your throat.
And smacking
and
your...
slapping your nipples.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's your thing. And then we were talking more. I was like, there's other restaurants and clubs around there. You know, I'm sure you guys could find a place. Like, just ask the people at the resort you're staying at. I'm sure they can, you know.
Find you something sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to the Costco food court.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, because I don't think you want to go.
Get an all beef dog in Cabo.
They would.
Jesus. I bet it's
They
more
didn't have the food court, though.
You know what? I actually realized it was around the corner. We never saw it, but when we were leaving, I had it misplaced.
You know what would have been funny?
You could have grabbed a pizza and you
I
didn't.
could've.
The whole thing about the hot dog here being $1.50. What if it's more expensive there? Just
Might
for
be.
shits and giggles. It's like it's $1.90 here.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But
It might be.
so as I was telling them, you know, hey, you don't want to go to Mango Deck or whatever, I jokingly was like, oh, but if you need any good strip club recommendations, I definitely got you.
How'd that go over?
They laughed, they chuckled. I would say is probably more
Jay
appropriate.
Peter's pants.
Yeah, and and then Jay goes, I've always been curious how open or how common sex work is in Mexico.
Well,
And I was like, well, how curious are you? And so I literally
full display.
I had this conversation with my parents. I was like, yeah, they just kind of almost like they had a menu. Like, you want a blowjob? You want to
How wide were they?
And they were like,
whoa.
And he turns to my mom and goes, do you think we should maybe try to find somewhere else?
PV
Cancel the
maybe.
flight. Cancel the flight.
Yeah, they might like Puerto Vallarta a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any strip clubs in Puerto Vallarta.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, as long as you guys don't go during spring break, I think you'll be fine. And they were like, well, it's the week after spring break. And I was like,
It's going to be wild in
Yeah.
Cabo, dude.
Mm-hmm.
you might.
That Milky Beach Bar they could go there.
Yeah, I
There you
did
go,
tell
man.
him about
Yeah.
that.
Or
And I
Noah
was
will
like,
be there.
literally down that entire beach, there's clubs, restaurants, bars, coffee
find
shops.
something.
You'll find
Go
something.
to the office. That's
The
a
Office,
the
that was the
restaurant.
one,
That's
yeah.
just
The
the
Office.
restaurant.
Yeah, that one's very popular.
And I told him, I was like, go to your hotel concierge, be like, hey, we don't drink. We just want to find a nice place on the beach to have a nice meal. They'll give you a list of 5 places.
And you will be
After
upcharged.
they fucking give you the side eye going, you don't drink?
Yeah,
That's what they'll do.
What are you doing here? What are you doing? Chris Hansen's gonna come out. What are you doing here?
Yeah,
Como? No tequila? What the fuck?
get out.
Get the fuck out.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, but it was a little bit of an awkward conversation.
Fuck out of here.
Imagine if they're staying with Myra and Chef Javier. Oh,
Should I give them
absolutely
their number?
And be like, you should book this entire resort.
They
just
were
for
asking me about
yourselves.
it. They were like, well, how much was this villa? And I was like, you're gonna
Enough.
so you're asking me the villa for 12 people you want to get for 2. Well, I don't know how much it is. And it's like, do you think we're cheap asses, Jay? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
It was $10,000 for that whole trip.
Anyways, fucking losers. Besides my mom.
So just Jay.
Should we go with them?
I'd go back. Take me back, man. These last few days have just been brutal.
I've got a close second to going back. Las Vegas, October 19th.
That's true. It's funny because I wasn't sure if you had actually said that to Lindsay until I went upstairs to go make myself a drink. She was like, "Is Miguel just fucking with me, or are you actually going to Vegas in October?" I was like, "God damn it!
Look what you've done."
You've already sabotaged
What a
me.
zummy.
You've already sabotaged me. You saying that you were in Anchorage, Alaska today."
I could have kept that going and you would have bought it.
Could
but
you?
I bailed.
Could you have done that? Could you? Okay, so let's choose our own adventure here. Do we want to start NFL, college basketball, or NBA tonight, boys?
What's in the NFL? Kelsey coming back?
Hopefully it's Steve Smith.
We're definitely going to talk about Steve Smith. Okay, let's talk about Steve Smith then. We'll start NFL. Apparently, the GM for the Chiefs was saying that Kelsey's fired up to come back, so
Yeah,
whatever.
good for him.
We're going to talk about the NFL Combine here coming up. That's this week. But yeah, Steve Smith got confronted by a guy.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he got confronted by a guy who filmed it, calls Steve Smith and says, "You fucked my wife?"
Bro, you fuck my
You
wife?
fucked my wife?
And Steve Smith, without hesitation, sorry, bro.
yeah, crumbled. They were like, "Wow."
Shit.
I think that's the I think that's the
Wife's a
most
slut?
most baller way to respond. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, my
What
bad.
what the fuck do you want from me to talk to her?
Yeah.
The guy just dap him up. All right, cool.
It was
Yeah.
over the phone.
At that point, it's still like, I mean, you should probably talk with your wife, not Steve Smith.
Well, and there's I don't know how much you guys got into this, but she was in the Baltimore Ravens marching band.
There's a marching band.
And this woman has been in the band for many years and obviously met Steve Smith when he played there, and they've been fucking for a long time.
Oh, got it.
And as a part of this whole ordeal, he got her phone, took screenshots of their messages, very graphic. At one point, she was like, they're like having sex talk essentially over text. Sexting is what the kids
You
call
ever
it.
heard of it? Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, I want you to do this to me. I want you to do that to me." And he's like, "Yeah, I love that." And she goes, "Oh yeah, and I want you to come inside me." And he just responds, "Noted." And
Done deal.
Yeah.
then
I thought he would have just been like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that."
And so the husband posts all these screenshots of the messages online, logs into her Facebook account, took a page out of Miguel's book, logs on to her Facebook account, posts a status being like, "I'm a whore. I'm sure the Ravens
yeah.
marching band should have some kind of rules against this, blah, blah, blah." Anyways, not looking good for this guy.
Yeah. That's the weird part is if you are the victim, it's almost better to just, as much as it sucks, to be the bigger person and just walk away. Because there's nothing you're going to do that's going to look better than like your wife fucking a fucking NFL star.
Yeah.
It's like you doing the whole
Hall of
Facebook
Famer.
thing. It just makes you look bad.
Yeah, it makes you look like a cuck.
Yeah, just
bit.
fucking leave your wife and be like,
Like
"Dude,
your
we're done."
your business is with your wife. At that
Yeah,
point,
sue
right?
the shit out of Steve Smith and take your wife for all she's worth, if anything, in the divorce.
And then
but
bounce.
do it quietly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, what good is going to come out?
Because I'm pretty sure
and what are you trying to salvage?
in the legal proceedings, she could then use this against you to be like, he's,
harassing me.
yeah,
all this
and fucking up my image or whatever.
Wow.
But one thing we all learned through this is that Steve Smith, big schlong,
Big dick, huh?
big dick.
All right. Not a tall guy, but
shit. God's got to give him something. He's like 5'6".
Yeah. Yeah, he's had a tough life in the NFL.
and now in his broadcasting career.
Yeah.
We have the NFL Combine this week.
DeLon Gabriel, killing it.
Who?
DeLong.
Oh, DeLong.
No, actually, I didn't hear that. I don't know.
So Combine is this week. How much? Obviously, Shador Sandals. Shador Sandals.
The Sandals Resort.
Mr. Sandals is not going to throw.
There's a lot of people not throwing.
Yeah, they always wait till the friendly, territory. Their pro day. Some guys just don't even throw because there's like, what are you gonna do? Not draft me? Here?
My value is my value.
So, and at a certain point, right? Like, there are those like some sort of viral things you get. A guy who's like super fast, whether or not he's like quick and fast or fat and fast. Like, there's obviously things about hand size, which is weird because they don't seem to care about a punter's foot size, but they'll measure his hand size. Or
yeah, like how Joe Burrow got fucking clowned on for having small hands. I was like, oh, he's not going to do as well in the NFL.
Right.
He's got
it's
tiny
just
hands.
like, I think that ultimately the thing that is most important is the ability to talk with teams, and this is where front office executives can kind of meet about like, is Myles Garrett actually on the trade block, or is Matthew Stafford going to get moved? There's a bunch of face-to-face deals that can happen at that point. Coaches and GMs talk today. That's where the Chiefs GM says, something to the effect that Kelsey's coming back and everything like that. Mike Vrabel apparently showed up drunk, and everyone was like, yeah, whatever.
On brand.
How did he appear drunk? Like, what did he do?
They just said that he appeared drunk. I don't know.
No facts behind it.
They just fucking ratting him out.
Yeah, your Barstool boys said.
Oh, yeah, that's a credible source.
Mike Vrabel showed up at the Combine. Oh, never mind. I think he said he showed up at the Combine wasted.
Read a headline, why don't you?
Yeah, I thought he said showed up at the Combine wasted. It did not.
Wasted no time?
Wasted no time, yeah.
False information.
Wow.
Fake news. All right,
You're
bad.
part of the problem.
Sorry, Mike. Just
Jeez.
misreading headlines.
Is your middle name Clickbait? Is that what it is?
No, it's masturbate, actually.
Yeah, the master debater. The headline was showed up at the Combine and wasted no time establishing himself as the perfect man to lead the Patriots back to greatness. Not what I thought was that he was
So
Trump.
close, though.
So close to
Is
what
that what you do with headlines? You just stop halfway through?
I glanced over. I just wanted to make sure right before I said anything that I didn't miss anything in the last couple hours. And I was like, Mike Vrabel showed up at Combine wasted. And I was like,
That's
oh.
like Steve Smith, fuck guy. You just left off his wife.
Yeah, that's my bad. So sorry, Mike. Not wasted at the Combine.
You'll
But
be
it would
hearing
be a
from
power
him.
move.
What a Shyamalan twist if he was drunk. And here we
Peter-
are. Oh,
Pete was the only one who knew.
Man. I don't know.
gotcha, bitch.
But yeah, and then I guess there was clips of Pete Carroll, who I assume still lives up in Seattle. Don't fact check me on that. But there was Pete Carroll having side conversations in first class with the front office of the Seahawks there with John Schneider and
Where's Cooper Kupp going?
I don't know. He's on the trade block. I think that the leaders in the clubhouse was Pittsburgh, was the betting favorite for that. But
Why?
I don't know.
That seems like a odd change. Can you imagine Cooper Kupp in a Steelers uniform?
Be a little. It doesn't.
It
feel
makes
right.
it automatically makes him less likable.
Yeah.
If he went to Pittsburgh.
agree.
I don't even hate Pittsburgh, but it was just there's something about
I don't have any
him.
feelings about Cooper Kupp at all. But if he went to Pittsburgh, I'd
You'd
hate
love
him.
him on your Bills.
I'd hate him.
You'd love him on your Bills.
No, I'll take him in brown and orange, baby.
Cooper
And
Kupp.
who would throw to him? Who would fucking throw to
Kirk
him?
Cousins, ever heard of him?
Well, apparently Kirk Cousins was like, I was injured for the second half of the year, and so you put me on the bench because I was hurt.
That's what you call bad
Cooper
management.
Kupp in Buffalo would be fucking wild.
That
was-
would be really fun.
It would be fun. I don't think that he would bring that wide receiver one energy that
No, you get that, kind of wily veteran
yeah.
who can just fuck around and find out,
I don't even think he's at that point. He's not the old head yet. That's just a good locker room presence. Like Cooper Kupp, he was hurt for most of the season, and
I think that's why you kind of put him in that category. It's like, yeah, he's not that old, but the injuries that he's added up, I think, kind of accelerated him to that point.
he's more than capable of being wide receiver 1 again, like more than a probability.
Stay healthy enough. Matthew Stafford, it sounds like maybe the Giants. Who knows? Why not?
So I don't know. Maybe you guys disagree, but the Rams coming out of the NFC were the only team that really kept things close with the Eagles. Are they in just such cap hell that they're like, fuck it, we're blowing everything up? Like,
Stupid.
why?
Why
Not be like, hey, we were pretty close with all these injuries and all this shit that we had dealt with this year.
You have young guys. Like, you have Kyron Williams and Puka. These guys are fucking young. They were dominating in their second year of the league.
Like, I don't get why they're like, we're getting rid of everybody.
This is not blow-up time for the Rams. It's dumb.
I mean, I kind of get Matthew Stafford because he's probably towards the end of his career. Try to get the most value out of him while you can, but I don't know. It seems like keep both of them for another year.
I'm not on board with like blowing up that team. They're good.
I'm not sure what their draft status is. You know, they infamously were like, fuck those picks type of a deal. Stafford and Kupp. Stafford takes up $50 million in dead money. Kupp 22.2. So maybe you're just trying to moneyball your way through.
I don't know.
So
Seems odd, but what do we know?
Whatevs, dude.
we're not the podcast to know things.
No, definitely not.
Hey, what's the intern over? Like, what did you research?
Greg.
Oh, Pat
Greg.
McAfee's better. Yeah, you're right.
He might be better. It does look like, too, that they have, let's see, they have, like, no room. Wait, 2025.
Didn't they just add like?
Actually, 2025, they have about $40 million in cap space.
Yeah, I was gonna say they added $40 million in cap space.
Yeah, they're good. But who knows?
What the fuck?
Hot salary talk about that off season of the fucking NFL.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
What is McVay thinking, dude?
Whoa, you react.
The Eagles are
Tell us what you think in the comments.
Eagles are going to go back to back. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Oh, you think so?
Well, unless they outlawed the tush push. So the competition committee got one of their first inquiries, where the Green Bay Packers were the team that proposed a rule change to outlaw the tush push.
What a bunch of salty ass bitches.
Heroes or zeros?
More like fudge packers, you know what I mean?
Fudge Packers. How fitting.
Wow.
This team is really successful with this one play. Let's propose to fucking have everyone sign a petition to cancel this shit. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's
man.
the most. It would be like there's a play that everybody runs, like a Hail Mary, and there's one team that's really good at running the Hail Mary, so you make it so nobody can do it. That's bullshit. Everybody can be this
has
good.
the ability to.
Yes.
And they don't.
And you just don't do it. That's your own fucking fault.
That's where, and I've tried to be introspective about this, because ultimately, like, we saw it in the playoffs, where in the Commanders game, Luvu was jumping over guys to try and get everything. And then ultimately came down to, well, we're just going to award them the score if you keep doing this. And so it's just like, we can't stop this. So we're trying to time things correctly and everything. But to your point, everyone has the ability to do this. It's just that the Eagles are the best team at executing this, and no one is trying to really replicate it. Or they're trying to replicate it, but no one can do it as well. And it's even better now that you have Saquon, who can, squat as much as Jalen Hurts. So, they'll probably try and say, oh, it's a safety thing, but it's not. No one's really getting hurt at this
There's
point.
no bigger hypocrites than American pro sports, or just like sports here in general.
Oh, sports fans.
Well, I mean, even the organizations.
Yeah, I get. Yes.
The organizations, because you do you do everything in sports to cater to the fans, to make that's why it's such an offensive thing. Like the higher the point scoring is, the more entertaining it is. And then you have the Shohei Ohtanis of the world fucking hitting home run after home run. You have the Eagles with an 88% succession rate when it comes to the tush push. You have the Lamar Jacksons of the world. You have fucking LeBron and all these guys. But once someone does it well enough, it's like, he's got to be on roids. He's got to be on roids. We got to check him. We can't do hand check anymore. We can't do isolation because Jordan is absolutely killing everyone. Before you know it, they're going to be like, well, Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson, they're fucking rushing for touchdowns every play. We're going to cap this. You can only rush max 10 yards. I mean, do you want entertainment? Because I do have a problem with entertainment, too, at the extreme, when it's less about the rules of the game. But then you're like, we got to put a cap on something because they're too good at it. Like, make up your fucking mind. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, and I think that it's like when it comes down to the NFL wanting to make people be glued to their seats. The tush push becomes something automatic, and so therefore it becomes less sexy. So they're trying. I think that there may be some credence in the possibility of changing this rule because this is just kind of a boring play. They're always going to be able to do an 88% success rate.
I think it's all about control.
Yeah,
but I think
to your point, only one team. Why would you penalize just the Eagles when 31 other teams have maybe meaty? They haven't done
meaty
it.
Bones.
Yeah, they have not done it very well.
Yeah,
for the
I feel like it's always
tried.
Gonna come down to control. It's almost like, hey, I just want to remind you I'm in charge. Whoever that is.
Yeah.
Whoever the higher
I would agree with
is.
that, but it comes down to vote. You know what I mean? So it's not like one person being like, "Oh, I want the power. I want this decision made. Let's make it happen." At the end of the day, it does have to be a majority.
And
right.
Don't you need 75% of owners?
No, you're right.
3/4.
For the most part, it works out in our favor as fans.
Yeah.
But it being brought up is a control thing.
Oh, yeah. It's
it being brought up is
yeah.
like the fact that we're talking about this, the fact that this is an argument, that this is a topic of conversation is a control thing.
Yeah.
It's not always going to work out in your favor, but the fact that it's even in your mind to stop this, they're too good. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it did because a lot of people, I'm sure, didn't know that a referee, even some of the players, when we hear the mic'd up moments, are like, wait, they can just award a score. When it kind of gave to no matter what you do on defense, we're just going to award them a score if you keep on trying to effectively stop this. It's just okay, well, is that unfair at that point? Maybe in that situation.
Yeah.
But you can't enforce a situation, right?
Well,
so
I kind of disagree with that because the situation is everything. In this situation particularly, they're on the 2-inch line, yeah. And it's like, guys, either stop them like you should, or we're gonna give them the 2 inches because they got it. You know what I mean? I think if they're on the 10-yard line, then it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
But everybody just needs to shut up and play football.
Right. I mean, it's and we've seen other teams exploit rules, and especially we saw it this year in football with the too high safety, right? Or all of a sudden you're going to outlaw the too high safety because all of a sudden now offense isn't as good anymore.
That was a conversation during the season.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of this too high safety, and it's like, this is something that's existed in football for decades.
But now it's limiting offense, and now you want to try and outlaw that from a defensive alignment. It's absurd.
That's what I mean about control, because to me, this is just the petty... when you're playing pickup basketball or you're playing backyard football and you have that one guy making up rules as we go, right? This is just pettiness in a grand scale. You know what I mean? You play pickup basketball. That guy's too good. He's not allowed to play anymore. He's not going to be on. He's not going to be on your team. We're not going to play with him. It's there's always that one that's well, it's unfair to me. It's unfair to what I vote for. So I'm not for it. It's
Yeah,
just in a bigger scale.
I'm here to have a good time, and you're ruining it.
Yeah, and I think that ultimately,
It's always the guy in jeans playing pickup basketball. That's what it is.
if it actually pertains to safety, and I know that like when everything is slowed down frame by frame, that can be incredibly subjective.
Yeah, but
like like what is that? Not the chop block. What's the hip? The hip drop,
hip drop tackle.
right? Like that can end careers. I understand that those types of controls and everything, but it's like, how does one penalize one team and not 31
I think
others?
it's dumb. And at the end of the day, I hope and I think that most of the ownership of football teams across the NFL probably have similar mindsets as we do. Like, guys, we just need to learn how to stop
Right.
it. Like, I want to be able to tush push when I'm on the 1 yard line, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, give it up.
Maybe invest in a better O-line like they do.
Or
You'd be able to do this too.
or
Yeah, maybe
pay
your
a good
quarterback-
running back.
Yeah.
Because that seems to have helped them a lot this
Your
season.
quarterback should be able to squat 600 pounds, and also your running back. So
The funny thing is, if you take the last 5 years that this whole tush push has really been on the spotlight, the years that the Eagles really did a lot of tush pushes, they didn't win the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was Saquon who helped them get to that point. He was the last piece that was needed. How many times did you see him run the tush push this year when they won the Super Bowl compared to when they lost to the Chiefs, or even last year? I mean, they ran it a shit ton last year.
Yeah.
Compared to this year, it's not as much.
Yeah, I would agree.
But they won the whole thing, so whatever. Come on, man.
anything else NFL related? We're a bit of a lull here. I do, as much as like the combine doesn't matter, I do love tuning in. It's nice to have in the
The
background.
thing I love about the combine is everything around the combine.
Sure.
Because I feel like you get a lot of football sports personalities in one place, which turns into a lot of good football content over these next 2 weeks. The combine itself, throwing the ball, doing the bench press, could care less.
Yeah.
But guys talking about it, I'm in.
I know it's not it's not a good thing to have this mentality, especially because we run a sports podcast, but I treat football, or really any sport, like Christmas music. I don't pay attention to it when it's not in season. Because I like to be able to enjoy it in the present.
Yeah.
Like, I like missing football. I like getting to July and going, we got football starting next month. And I like getting giddy and getting excited, like college football, August 25th. We got our first game, and we got football day, and we got NFL. So when it's not in season, I am solely focused on basketball. Like, I am just watching basketball.
Yeah, and we'll get into basketball in a second, but one thing that I will say is that if hand size matters so much, I think that for a quarterback, I think that dick size should matter for a head coach. Honestly, because it's like if you're like a Dan Campbell who has probably the biggest dick in the league to be able to go for it on any
Metaphorically?
man, what I'll let y'all decide.
Because what if Dan Campbell has a
You think he's got a tiny ween? He was an
a
offensive
teeny
line.
Peter?
Hey, do not attach me to that.
I think Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay have the two biggest dicks as coaches in the NFL. Like literal dick size.
Literal?
Yeah.
All right.
They just strike me
I
as
could see
big
Kevin
dick dudes.
O'Connell for sure. It's always those, average white guys that have the big dicks.
No, not Mike McDaniel then?
Yeah, I'm sure
He's just a torpedo, probably.
I'm
I don't
sure
know,
he
it's
does.
Not, all right.
You as soon as you said torpedo, it got weird.
Off the
Long,
rails.
skinny dick there for Mike McDaniel. But it's always like the nerdy ones, right? They've got like the,
Yeah, it's the Parker Luntz of the world.
Mike Vrabel probably just like super wide. All right.
And about an inch long.
Dan
very
Campbell,
chody.
Dan Campbell's too emotional to have a big dick.
You think?
True.
All right.
He's too emotional to have a big dick. That shit curls up whenever he cries when he doesn't make the first down.
Oh man.
We shall see.
Hey,
No, we shall see. I don't
We
think
shall
we're going to
see.
find out.
Or we
we're
might.
never gonna see.
Well, yeah.
just want to throw this out there as we close up our football conversation. What would you guys think about doing football day, but away? Like maybe we get the
away football day.
Maybe we get the freaking cabin at Detroit Lake and set up the projector.
The best part about this is these like proposed boys trips for these things.
It's one day.
No, you're not having to talk me into it. These are fucking easy decisions for me and Jordan. Like,
yes.
No, there's no resistance. The people that bring it up are the ones that are going to have to battle to fucking go to this.
I'm very thankful that I have not yet had to battle for these things.
It's like out of this
So I'm taking
close
advantage of
group,
it.
it's just me and Jordan that like, yeah, we're packed. Where are we going?
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, I don't know. I got to check. I got to figure this out.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I think that would be a great
I'll
idea.
be there tomorrow.
Okay. I'll see you there.
But you're not going to go to the when we're young.
Yeah, that's just purely a non-interested.
No thanks. No thanks. Let's see. We have in the association. This idiot is going ahead and putting plus 11.5 on the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, the idiot that's won
a lot.
five bets in this month alone. I
The
missed
Charlotte
one.
Hornets now have lost 3 in a row. Their 2 previous losses were by a combined 90 points, 90 plus points.
The funny thing about that is they were within that spread to be covered
For a minute, yeah.
for the end of the third quarter. And I was talking to multiple people. I'm like, do I cash out? I mean, it's $20. That is a pretty good return for a $3 fucking bet. And as soon as everyone told me, dude, cash out, that cash out went to suspended, and they were down 30.
Yeah.
I was like, it's too late.
By the time I responded, which I thought I responded pretty quick, I was like, the Hornets
too
suck.
late.
It was gone at that point.
What happened to LaMelo?
He shot like shit. He was like
there's not
3 for 17 last night.
Jesus Christ.
Everything else hit though. That was the only one. But I've been placing these like 5 picks, and it's like 4 money line bets and like an over under, and I've hit 3 of them in a row. Then I placed that one, and I was like, oh, this could hit. But I've been hitting like I've actually with
what was that? 6 paid 120 or something like that.
6 paid 106.
Yeah.
And then like 5 paid 173. And then that one was like 3 to pay 42.
We need to figure out how to start like a social group on DraftKings.
I have one. I'm in a few of them.
I know, but make our own so we can see each other's.
Yeah. You guys don't gamble enough. I'm in a few of those. You
I
just
mean,
check
I
them.
would if you're doing a $2 bet that I can ride, I'm in.
Yeah, I'll do it. Because I don't know if I'm like not creative enough. I don't know if I'm adventurous enough to make that long odds enough of a bet.
The best part is I just submitted tax documents to my CPA. So do you remember that one year? I think it was like 2019. I submitted a tax form from DraftKings that was $12,000 wagered. And this wasn't just all deposited money. These are all like money won that I've bet back, right? Mm-hmm. 8,000 in profits in winnings, 4,000 in losses. So I had just submitted my tax documents like 3 days ago. And I was like, I have not been betting that much. So I pull up DraftKings and it said 1,200 wagered. And these, because I went from $20 bets to like $1.
Yeah.
1,200 wagered. 1,300 winnings, baby. I'm in the green for $100. I'm like, holy shit!
great.
The $1 bets have been working.
Congratulations to you. And then, so I want to talk about a few teams tonight in the NBA. Not so much the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games, won 8 straight. Continue to be the hottest team in the NBA. There's that. I do want to talk about the Thunder and the Nuggets. I want to talk about specifically how Nikola Jokic has even better numbers in this season than in his NB or his MVP seasons, but it's still going to be Gilgeous-Alexander who's going to win MVP.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
It's like, do you guys buy the kind of fatigue? Because it's like, Jokic doesn't do anything flashy and therefore it's boring, but you get Gilgeous-Alexander who is helping lead his team to the second best record in the NBA. I'm curious your guys' thoughts.
Absolutely. First of all, the whole sympathy MVP that was given to Embiid, that was Jokic's MVP.
Fuck
Yeah, it
that.
was.
But
Yeah.
it was like, why are we giving this Serbian player a history-making third MVP in a row? Why would we do that? It's almost like they were finding reasons to not do that. Look what happened to Embiid since he won that MVP.
Trash.
He has not, I don't care if you are good on the floor. Availability is your best ability.
He's out once again.
You are
yeah.
never there,
He's
dude.
never there. And the 76ers are 1-9 in their last 10 games.
That's the shit. That's the shit that matters. Is we remember Kawhi for how good he is, but it's damaging his reputation. The fact that he never plays. The same with Embiid. Is he a 30-10-10 guy when he's healthy? Yes, but he's never fucking available. And I hate to knock a guy for being hurt, but LeBron has done it for 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's somebody that's doing something different, reach out. You have the financial means to be able to do what he's doing. How many times have we seen LeBron out?
Not a ton.
20 fucking years in the league, dude.
Well, and also it's like, are you hurt or injured? Because if you're just hurt, then you need to get the fuck back out there.
That's true. But load management has killed it. So what's wild about what Jokic is doing is that it's almost like you don't bat an eye anymore when he's dishing 19 assists. It's great. Like, the guy is up at the top of the key, just navigating traffic and just like, all right, just throwing it 95 feet.
Look at this
across.
chunky, overweight guy that's just dominating the league. It's just not, he's not the logo. He's not the guy that it's representing the league. I'm like, dude, this guy is making a difference the same way that Larry Bird made a difference while he was in the fucking league.
Yeah. Well, he's contrary to what the NBA is right now, which is like a highlight league, right? Like, this is part of like, oh, well, our numbers are down from like a ratings perspective, but our numbers are crazy through the roof on TikTok, right? It's like Jokic doesn't fit that current narrative, so therefore, Gilgeous-Alexander dropping 50 or whatever. But, I mean, it's like when you look at the list of big men who have, like, that many assists in a game, it's like Jokic, like, 20 times, Wilt a couple of times, and then no one else. It's wild.
I hate to, I don't like taking credit away from certain people because I don't have any ill feelings towards Shea. I think he's a really good player, but he is getting clowned for the same thing that James Harden got clowned for, and it's the fact that if he didn't average 17 to 20 free throws a fucking game, he would average 20 points a game or in the teens. So it's like he is awarded so many fucking free throws. Now, is that his fault? No. That's him
working the system
and playing the game. Because Harden did the same thing in his MVP season, right? But I know some people, not only are people looking at the Thunder as favorites, but in the books, they are the favorites to win the championship. The reason that's never going to happen is because in the history, I know you have a bet on them. They're flashy, they're fun to watch and all this, but a young, inexperienced team has never won the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
I don't care how fucking good you are and how exciting you are to watch. There's no chance in my mind they are winning the championship, because you can be good in the regular season, but if you have to face, let's say they face Boston, right, in a 7-game series, who are you putting your money on? A team that's been there, number one, that has the same superstars like you, so they're canceling each other out, and then you have pieces like Derek White and Drew Holiday. Experience always comes out on top in the NBA. The Thunder will not win the finals.
Yeah. I would love to see them get over the hump because, like, when it came to eventually Boston getting over that, right? Like, Boston went through that. I mean, like, they did. Like, they were the young, and they lost continually and continually. So, like, but you also have now a current Boston team who has won against a Thunder team who is looking to get over the hump.
But that is the history of the ABA and the NBA. It's like a rite of passage. The Thunder could make the finals, but the same way that the Boston Celtics lost to the Warriors, they lost because of experience, and then they got over the hump and won. So the Thunder could win next year or 2 years from now, but they might not even beat Denver in the Western Conference.
Taking a future on the Thunder in the next 3 years is good money.
It's great money.
Yeah.
Taking them in the finals.
Because they still have a ton of picks that they could get too.
Yeah, and Chet Holmgren will get better. Shea will get better. Jalen Williams will get better. You don't just make it happen with a young team. You have to learn. They have to be in that 7-game series.
They've still got like 7 first-round picks over the next few years. Just take all 7 of those and be like, Cooper Flag? I mean,
if he leaves.
If he leaves, we'll talk about that in a second. But so Jokic is averaging a triple-double right now, 29, 12, and 10.
That's
and
fucking insane, man.
And he's not doing it like Russell Westbrook did.
No, not at all. I mean, it's like he's doing it.
He's
not chasing it.
Yeah.
Like Westbrook did.
See,
but yet Shea is going to win resoundingly as a favorite to win the MVP.
This generation of fans in the last 5 years have been so spoiled with these stats because I don't like. If you are in that level, you can chase whatever the fuck you want. You can chase 50 points a game. You still have to be good enough to achieve that goal, to achieve that feat. I don't care if you chase a triple-double. The fact that you can average it for the whole season, I hate that people criticize Russell Westbrook for that. Oh, he's stat padding and all that. He averaged it for the entire fucking season. No one's done it since Oscar Robertson. You know how hard it is to do?
Yeah.
Like, that is fucking crazy. And now we're almost desensitized from it because Jokic just does it normal.
Right.
LeBron does it normal.
Yeah, I didn't say that to, throw any shade to Russell Westbrook. It was just pretty well known during that time. Like, some of the big men were taking rebounds off the rim and handing them over to him so he could, get those points or whatever.
And Russ was also doing that on a very mediocre team.
Yeah, where that was literally the best they could do is helping their teammate.
Yeah,
like they weren't going to do anything.
Meanwhile, Denver is second in the West. Currently, so
also think about that: a triple-double. If you dedicated your entire team and say your only job is to help this individual average a triple-double.
Yeah.
And basically get one every 3 games in an 82-game season. That is not an easy thing to do if you dedicated the entire team to just helping Russell Westbrook or Jokic. Like, you still have to be way above average as a basketball player.
For sure.
To be able to do that. That's fucking nuts. That is crazy.
But it does make it easier.
I don't know how much easier.
but again, it's incredible for both of them. Both very impressive.
But Jokic is just kind of like almost stumbling into it, and their team is, second in the West, where Russ, you were like, you're chasing this, and we all know what you're doing, and we're going to reward you for it, which is lame, but that's kind of how it goes.
I am a little curious as to, I feel like there's a lot of talk about Boston. There's a lot of talk about OKC. I feel like there's less attention around the Nuggets, which kind of...
I mean, they're considered small market, even though they're one of the biggest markets.
Because they've been there.
In the NBA.
Well, I just feel like this is the type of season where they're quietly, systematically going to just stomp people down, and they're going to end up in the championship. They're going to beat Boston in 5-6 games, and people are going to be like, we never saw it coming.
Right. And again, unsexy, all of that, but they've been there before.
They're not getting the TikTok views.
Yeah, they're like, Jokic doesn't otherwise, like, he's ironically in the spotlight, not because he wants to be in the spotlight. Yeah, I think that Denver's a great play because, like, again, to borrow your logic, Miguel, like, they've been there before. To borrow my logic, which is I think that, like, you have a team similar to the Bucks where you're just like, of a few years ago. You've got a well-constructed team where everyone kind of complements each other all around.
Yeah.
You're like
everybody plays their role.
Accidentally, not even a super team, but you're just like very good in your respective positions.
I feel like if there's any team, not necessarily a complaint, but there's any team that's not getting as much press, it's Cleveland. If any team should be in the position to be like, hey, why aren't we being talked about?
They won like 9.
I mean,
they've won 8 straight and they're 9-1 in the last 10 games.
Cleveland, I think, is
48 and 10.
Like they're like number 1 in the East.
They're number 1 in the NBA.
No one's talking about.
But also, I would put them in that same category as OKC.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of playoff finals experience on that team.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that because, like, again, you're kind of looking at, the Bostons of the world. You're looking at the Knicks are good, so, like, you're getting these bigger market teams that are going to, rise above in the, like, news headlines, for instance.
Yeah.
So, a team that will also rise above in the headlines sounds like JJ Redick is starting to get some of his flowers as well. Were we wrong? Could he be I heard earlier today, could he be the Eric Spoelstra of the West? And I'm like, hold on.
JJ Redick, the thing that he's doing right is that if you're a Lakers head coach, you don't need to do much. Almost like stay out of the way know when to clear the room, know when to stay out of the way, but he has enough basketball IQ that he can point out certain things. But it's being a Lakers head coach in the history of the Los Angeles Lakers, it's ego management. It's less about X's and O's. It's all about how can you manage these large personalities because that's who comes to the Lakers.
Yeah, it's ego management, and then also, like, how do people perceive you, right? Like, because I think that Frank Vogel was good at ego management. He helped them win the championship in the bubble, but there was not like a general respect for Frank Vogel. I think that there's starting to be respect for JJ Redick now that they, are, 13 games above 500, one of the top teams in the NBA.
And I think that's fairly, good coaches in the NBA, you don't hear about them. I feel like it's become such a player-focused league where if you're hearing about a head coach too much, that means the players are complaining about him. Yeah. And, you're getting bad headlines. So, I mean, to see that JJ's getting positive headlines, that's great, But
I think with being a head coach of a big market team, if you can figure out managing egos, which is half the battle, and in the other half being a presence that people respect, you're there long term. Because that's the Phil Jacksons of the world. That's the Greg Popovich of the world. Eric Spoelstra didn't get that respect until and granted, it was LeBron moving to Miami, but they won the 2006 championship with an old Shaq and a Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have Pat Riley's respect, and Spoelstra kind of sprung up, and it's like all of a sudden you're not getting rid of him. He gets put in that category as like, this isn't a tradable, movable guy. And I think if JJ Redick can figure out the other half, where he is respected and there's a presence where he walks in and people listen to him, whether it's Luka as a future or LeBron leaves, he's going to be there long term.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got all the pieces to make it work.
Yeah.
It's really the, balls in his court.
And imagine a year ago at this time, we were talking about Dan Hurley as possible head coach of the Lakers. You know how much of a fucking failure that would have been?
Oh, yeah.
Well, and mentioning that, do you think that Dan Hurley, because obviously UConn not looking hot, not looking as likely to take that third championship, do you think Dan Hurley has any regrets?
I don't think he has any regrets. First of all, that guy's too prideful, and this is his personality through and through. Like, he's not gonna change. He does not fit the mold of a professional basketball head coach, because you cannot talk to these guys the way that you do college kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Imagine him screaming at LeBron or Anthony Davis or Donovan Mitchell, any of these guys. No fucking chance.
Or even some of the, he's calling guys baldy. Like, what if he's just like mouthing off to like big old celebrities there at
the biggest
Staples
failure
Center,
you're
Crypto.
seeing from Dan Hurley is like he inherited a UConn team, and I'm not giving him any credit because he's a good coach and these are good basketball minds, the Hurley family, but he inherited a good UConn team that had leftover experienced players playing against some young dudes, right? And now you're seeing that Dan Hurley is a really good coach, but he's not a recruiter.
Yeah.
He's not a recruiter. He's having to make do with the cards that he's dealt, and they're not players that could compete against the Alabamas and the Floridas and the Auburn this year. And he's also
Duke.
the guy.
Wow, you didn't even say Duke. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm humble. But unfortunately,
Sit down.
Unfortunately, when that happens, the Hurley personality is a tantrum personality.
Yeah.
It is not like a take the high road. It's like, yeah, fuck you guys. I'm the greatest head coach. I'm like, Dan, that's not helping you, brother.
Yeah. How concerned are you about the San Antonio Spurs after recent news that Greg Popovich, who suffered a stroke, and then Victor Wembanyama, who now apparently has it was sidelined indefinitely with what some people are like, this, if not managed correctly, could be like career-threatening types of injuries with what he was experienced with like the blood clot or whatever in his shoulder.
That's news to me.
Yeah, the Wemby stuff was like, so he was sidelined indefinitely after he had experienced some fatigue. This is like similar to what Chris Bosh had dealt with when he got injured and ultimately led to his retirement. So Wemby is dealing with a very similar injury where you're just kind of like, that's why he's sidelined indefinitely. So now all of a sudden it's like he's out, no pop.
I think the concern with the Spurs just revolves around Wemby because that's the future. That's the face of that franchise.
Yeah, it's the future. It's the face of the NBA.
The concern with Greg Popovich is more of like a personal thing. Like, he's a very lovable personality in the NBA, and he's getting older, and I get it. There's zero concern about the Spurs organization. That is one of the best, if not the best, organization in all of the NBA.
Yeah,
top to bottom.
That organization makes good, logical decisions.
Yeah.
They don't cross people.
Led by R.C. Buford, their GM, who has a lineage of people who have gone on to be GMs.
Wemby thing, that's fucking
terrifying.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That guy is on his way to be the fucking superstar.
Yeah, I mean,
of this league.
We're in an era where we're about to lose LeBron. We're going to lose Steph. There's a lot of big-name players that are going to be retiring in these next 3 to 5 years, and Wemby is kind of the headlining ticket.
This kid is dropping, like, some of his numbers was like 39, 20, and 7 blocks. Like, not every game, but pretty consistently he's dropping big, absurd numbers. Also, it sucks for the betting world because this guy was minus 2,500 to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
A lot of people had money on it. Now he's not eligible because he hasn't played 65 games.
Yeah.
So now the guy that was second, who was sitting, like Jaren Jackson Jr. from Memphis, was sitting at plus 700. Overnight was the fucking favorite. Overnight.
It's not a bad play there.
Where's the blood clot cash out, huh?
Yeah, right. The blood
terrible.
clot.
They have that
cash out.
clause.
Right now, if you look at the San Antonio Spurs, 24-31, which is he's got to pee. In the West, they are 12th in the West. So
there's only one person to blame. Can you name it?
There's one, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul is a fucking bad luck everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes, they don't win a championship.
Yeah, people get seasoning-ending injuries.
He was in Houston, and that Houston team was on the verge of beating the Warriors at their peak.
That's right.
And then everyone get hurt, everyone's getting injured. He's just a bad luck when he goes to a team.
Yeah, I don't much care for good old Chris Paul. I saw an interesting thing too. I didn't realize that he doesn't like his head touched. You see that?
I've seen him react to that when people kind of give him a pat.
Yeah, it's like a son thing.
It's a short man thing.
Yeah,
he'll never admit that, but he's like, don't pat my head down because I'm short.
No, I think he definitely has admitted, like, don't touch my head. You know the one person who was allowed to touch his head?
Carmelo Anthony.
No.
His son.
No.
Who?
Kobe. And Kobe did it ironically.
He's
like
only saying that because Kobe's dead.
No. But like Kobe would do it, and so I saw a video montage of this. So it like someone would touch his head and be like, "Don't freaking touch my head." And I think that Kobe knew that it bothered him. So I think that maybe Chris Paul like allowed him to do it a little bit. Like, I know you hate
the
this.
Banana Boat crew.
Yeah, but so Kobe was allowed to.
You can give me a noogie, Kobe.
a little head pat. So,
like, I don't like. It's hard for me to appreciate all the positive talks about Kobe post death.
Yeah,
because I know that more than half of them are not genuine. It's all feelings that came after he died. I'm like, you were never for this guy. Not for like the off-court shit, but like you didn't like him. Don't pretend like you fucking love him. Like, don't get on this wagon that I've been on for a long time because he passed away. It's like, man, I love Kobe. I'm like, no, you didn't. You fucking hated this guy. Every Blazer fan, you did not like Kobe. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
I came around on Kobe right at the end of his career, but I couldn't stand it. As a fan, I hated Kobe. As a media member, I grew to appreciate Kobe for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up as a Jazz and a Blazers fan. So Kobe
ruined everything.
Fucked a lot of shit over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as a fan, I hated him, but you had to respect him.
You did have to respect him.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
There's no more room in this Kobe wagon.
And Miguel, you also
sounds good. I'll walk.
You have to respect Juan. You have to respect the comeback win by the Oregon Ducks this past weekend against Wisconsin.
You're the only one who watched that outside of Eugene.
You didn't watch that.
I bet this guy didn't even watch it.
I watched it, absolutely.
It was an incredible comeback. So took it to overtime. Mr. Good Old Biddle.
Good old Biddle.
Good old Biddle. Ever heard of him?
How do you think people are going to handle that 7 feet when it comes March?
That 7 foot and receding hairline?
I hope they play Duke. Just for 2016 redemption. I hope. The thing with the Ducks
they play
like,
Duke too.
They play.
So
the
you can
Ducks
lose.
started the fucking season like 9-0. They were. I think they went undefeated for a while. They were like 9-0, and then they lost to UCLA, and then we're like fucking 12-1 or some shit. And then they went on a losing streak. Like the Ducks just started losing.
Yeah, and they were losing a lot of like to inferior. Like they've got a really good quad 4 record, and then like.
But the games that they should have won, they were losing, and there's one they lost by fucking 30.
Yeah.
To a team they shouldn't have lost to at home, and then. The Wisconsin one was like the redemption thing, like, hey, we're back, Pac-12 or Big Ten or wherever the fuck we belong. It's like, okay, they'll make the tournament.
Yeah, they lost to Minnesota, UCLA, Nebraska, then number 24 and number 9.
If you lose to Nebraska
State.
in basketball, that's terrible.
The Cornhuskies, Miguel.
But they're on a 4-game winning streak over, Wisconsin number 11. That's a good right the ship win, right? Or right when you need it to.
And they have what, three more games on their schedule?
3 more games: USC, Indiana, and Washington.
So the Indiana game is probably the biggest one.
Yeah, but none of those guys are ranked currently. None of those teams are ranked.
Here's the thing: if they go 3-0, they, last 2 days in the conference tournament, they're in. In my opinion,
I think they'll be in no matter what.
Yeah, I think they're projected to be like a 7 or 8.
I don't
seed.
think
really.
I don't think that 3 games in the
were,
remaining schedule matters. They're going to be in the tournament.
Yeah, because right now when it comes to their conference play, they're 9-8, but they're 20-8 overall, and Michigan State, and Michigan hold the top right now.
Honestly,
of the
if
Big Ten,
you've been paying attention to college basketball this year, which I always do, but especially this year, the remaining schedule and the strength of schedule for Oregon does not matter. They're going to be in the tournament.
They're going to be in the tournament.
Because you know what helps them? There are blue blood teams that are out of the top 25. North Carolina, Kansas, and fucking somebody else.
Kentucky's there.
Kentucky is in the top 25. Somebody else.
UCLA?
But like Kansas started as preseason number 1. Now they're out of the top 25. They've had some bad losses. North Carolina is playing like shit. These teams are in the outside looking in. So when you have blue bloods that sometimes make it in because of their name and their history, it opens up the tournament for the 7, 8, 9 seeds, and these are the Oregons and the USCs and the Creightons of the world. So it makes it easier. That's what I'm saying. Like Oregon is going to be in the tournament, but they're going to face, a 10th seed Dayton possibly, or if they're 10. If they're 10, or the worst case scenario for Oregon is if they lose the 3 games and they're like an 11th seed, they could face like a Kentucky or an Arkansas.
Yeah,
that's not good for them.
Yeah,
it is interesting that like Oregon has such a dominant quad 4 record, but then when it comes to just all the teams that they shouldn't have lost to in their conference play, 9-8, not great.
To be 20-8 overall and 9-8 in conference,
it's a little surprising. I saw this debate earlier today when it comes to Auburn and Duke versus the field. Who would you take? Juan Miguel.
It's from a betting standpoint. Not even as a fan, but from a betting standpoint, it's really dumb to take
2 versus 60,
the field.
It's 66.
Odds-wise, especially with how unpredictable March Madness is, of all the sporting events, for you to not take the field in a March Madness style, it's real dumb to put your money in.
I mean, it's in the title. Madness.
It's absolute madness. But Auburn, talking about quad wins, they have 14.
Yeah.
They have fucking 14. Auburn is scary as fuck. If Auburn faces Duke again, this is the setup of like, can you beat a team twice? Because Duke beat Auburn, but in Cameron.
Yeah.
And that was a close game.
And Auburn has been number 1 basically for the last 2 months.
Yeah. And Duke's been right there with them.
They have at 24-3.
But they play on a neutral site. I'm not saying I don't have any confidence in Duke, but like
Houston's always there. Tennessee's always there. Alabama's always there.
Auburn is fucking scary. Auburn's scary.
Freaking Rick Pitino with St. John's.
Rick Pitino's a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, he's got his team though.
I was going to say
his team at 24-4.
I've been trying to dive a little bit more into college basketball as March is coming up. And St. John's is a name that I've heard a lot. A lot of people are talking about St. John's.
They bicker a little bit too much, but yeah, I think that's just like.
But I would like to place a bet.
Okay.
And it's a hypothetical bet. If Duke and Oregon somehow play each other in the tournament, I would like to bet $100 on whatever the spread is against you.
Is it in a theoretical, like he has to commit without knowing what the spread
We're both
is
committing without knowing.
Yeah, that will not be accepted.
Why?
Because I know you like dive into college basketball just right before March. Betting the spread in March Madness is one of the dumbest things you could do in the betting world. The spread in March Madness should be ignored.
Okay, then straight up.
Straight up, I would entertain it. The spread in March Madness is non-existent. That is dumb to even address.
I can agree with that when it's,
it doesn't matter how big it is. The spread in March Madness, if you're betting money, it is one of the dumbest things that you could do.
Okay. The other question is, are we going to go to A again?
We should. I'd do it.
First weekend?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you're
We're
gone.
be here.
He's gonna be gone. He's going to his other bachelor party because he's got other friends. We could go.
Get rid of those
Yeah,
guys.
dump them. We could go.
It's their fault for not going
Maybe-
to Cabo.
Maybe I was thinking about maybe doing a little barbecue watch sesh at my house and trying to drag whoever I could down there.
I'd do it as well. Brisky.
Yeah,
I'll
cook whatever you want.
I will be available. How I can commit because I would love to do that, but the Final Four weekend. Because first weekend I'm at the beach.
Okay.
Second weekend, wisdom teeth. So I'm gonna be
yeah.
at home, laid up, watching it.
What about Thursday? You're not leaving. You're not leaving till Friday. You go Thursday.
Yeah, I can do Thursday.
I mean, like get work off Thursday.
I probably won't get work off Thursday.
Yeah. Well, we can do that. Whatever weekend.
The April 5th. That's the Final Four weekend. So that's 2 games, Final Four games on Saturday because the championship is that Monday.
Yeah, and they're like afternoon, evening games, right?
Final Four is usually like 1:30 and then
5:30, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Especially if Duke's there. Fingers crossed.
Let's freaking smoke
I'll smoke.
meats.
We're not talking about the Lakers and Mavericks tonight because that game is ongoing. So we're for anyone who was
Yeah, we
looking
should go
for
watch that.
a hot take from us about the Lakers and Mavericks, Sans. I mean, it's not as special because you don't have AD also playing in that game, but Lakers up by 8 after 1, so you don't get our hot takes on that game. But sorry, guys.
I have a bet on that.
Do you?
I don't.
That sounded great.
Looking
in my
too good.
headphones. Here, you do that to yourself now.
This is a bigger spread than I know that there's no AD, but this was a Lakers -9 to start.
It was -9?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have taken it.
I didn't take
see
it. I
that.
took over 231. I feel like it'd be high scoring.
You really like the overs these days. It's hard for me to gauge sometimes.
I don't have it figured out, but my barber Noah, he doesn't pick games.
He's an over-under
He does.
guy,
He
huh?
picks over. But what he does, because clearly he's a professional bettor, he does individual bets. So he would do a single game bet, and I would be getting a haircut, and he would bet even on like Oregon, Wisconsin, and he'll take the over 157. He'll take the over on Thunder, Minnesota over 229, and it would be $500, and he'll win 900. Or it's $500, he'll win 1,000. But these are like, and then he'll be up like 2,500. He just hits all of these.
Yeah. I know that you don't like that Oregon won that game. And Wisconsin gave that game away. But it was a fun game to watch. I enjoyed it.
It wasn't on my radar.
Yeah. Sorry.
Even after he texted you blatantly about it, not on my radar.
I
didn't even look it up.
Hold on. What was the exact quote? Let me bring up
You
the
said
exact quote.
you should watch this game.
I think I responded.
Not on my radar.
Yeah. What did I say?
It's on there somewhere.
You got to get past your Wagyu photos.
Oh, it's past the Wagyu. That's right.
I don't know.
No, before it. Not after the
You're
Wagyu.
going the wrong way.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's higher up.
Saturday morning.
See
Got it.
today.
Hold on. Ducks basketball game is wild, down 16 to tie it. I'd rather watch Wedding Crashers for the 210th time than watch a Duck basketball game.
Guess what was on? Wedding Crashers.
Great film.
Great flick.
Comedy
Great
Central.
film.
Great
Wedding
flick.
Crashers.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was lovely. So, and so was the Wagyu. We should go try out
Yeah,
some
let's do it.
A5 Wagyu fat. Wow.
Anything else?
That's it.
Clear your eyes.
Full heart.
Can't lose.